The train beneath the tree. It looked like a simple toy train, but the wishes it carried around the tree were real. The living room of the Miller house on Christmas Eve was a perfect snow globe scene of festive, familial warmth. A great roaring fire in the hearth crackled and popped, its flames casting a warm, dancing, and golden light on the happy, contented faces of the family gathered around it. The air was a thick, delicious, and comforting perfume of roasting turkey, of hot mulled cider, and of the sharp, clean, and invigorating scent of the magnificent and beautifully decorated Christmas tree that stood proud and tall in the corner by the window. The tree was a masterpiece, a testament to a season of love and care, but the true and undisputed heart of the entire magical scene was what lay beneath it. Encircling the tree on a simple, circular, and perfectly laid track was a magnificent, old-fashioned toy train set. It was a beautiful and much-loved family heirloom, a train of the O-gauge variety, its engine a heavy, black, and powerful-looking locomotive with a single, bright, and cheerful headlight. Its cars were a brilliant, festive, and slightly scuffed-up collection of reds and greens. A coal tender, a passenger car with tiny silhouetted figures painted in its windows, and a small red caboose at the very end. The train was in constant, happy, and rhythmic motion, its small steel wheels making a gentle, satisfying, and deeply comforting clack-clack-clack on the track, its tiny horn letting out a cheerful, reedy toot-toot every time it passed the front of the tree. For the Miller family, for Dad, for Mom, and for the two children, 10-year-old Emily and 7-year-old Ben, the sound of the train was the true and steady heartbeat of Christmas, character's wish or struggle, the heart's winter. But this year, a small, quiet, and unfamiliar shadow of worry had fallen over the family's usually bright and untroubled, festive cheer. Grandma Miller, the family's beloved and fiercely independent matriarch, was not with them. For the first time in 50 years, her usual place of honor by the fire was empty. She had taken a bad fall on the ice a few weeks before, breaking her hip, and she was now recovering slowly and impatiently in a quiet, sterile, and deeply unfestive room in the local hospital. Her absence was a missing note in their family's happy Christmas carol. They had spoken to her on the phone, her voice trying its best to be cheerful, but they could hear the quiet, lonely, and deeply disappointed strain beneath it. The doctors had said she was healing well, but that she needed to be patient, to rest. Patience, however, was not one of Grandma Miller's primary virtues. The family's shared and unspoken wish was a simple and a powerful one. They wished she could be here. They wished they could see her familiar, smiling, and brightly bespectacled face in the warm, fire-lit glow of the living room. But since that was impossible, they wished they could send a piece of their Christmas, a piece of their warmth, their love, their happy and deeply held family magic to her, a tangible and powerful message of love and healing that could travel across the cold, snowy town and into her quiet, lonely, and sterile hospital room. The magical encounter, a spark of wonder. It was Emily, a girl with a practical mind and a deeply and secretly whimsical heart, who came up with the idea. It was born of a strange and beautiful Christmas Eve tradition that her grandmother herself had invented years ago. The wishing train. The rules were simple. Just before bed on Christmas Eve, Each member of the family was allowed to choose one tiny and deeply meaningful object and to place it on the train's empty flatbed car. This object was not a gift you wanted to receive. It was a wish you wanted to send out into the world for someone else. You would then write down your wish on a small slip of paper, and the train would carry both the object and the wish on its final midnight journey around the tree before it was turned off for the night. It was a simple, beautiful, and deeply hopeful game. And so, as the hour grew late, the family gathered around the tree for their beloved, and now more poignant than ever, ritual. Dad went first. He chose a small, smooth, and perfectly balanced river stone, a stone that reminded him of his mother's quiet and unshakable strength. He placed it on the flatbed car, a wish for her own inner healing strength. Mom chose a tiny silver locket, a small and beautiful heart that was a wish for her to feel all of their love surrounding her. And then it was Emily's turn. She had thought about her wish all night, and she knew with a child's perfect and beautiful logic what was needed. She ran to the kitchen and returned not with a small and symbolic object, but with a single, small, and beautifully decorated gingerbread man, still warm from the oven, its spicy, sweet, and comforting scent, a perfect, edible embodiment of the family's warm and happy home. It was a wish, she explained, for her grandmother to feel the warmth and the comfort of her own familiar kitchen. They placed the gingerbread man and their 3 small folded wishes on the flatbed car. The little black engine seemed to toot its horn with a new and deeper sense of purpose. It began its journey around the tree, its small, precious cargo a silent and deeply loving prayer. And as the train passed behind the dense, lower branches of the great pine tree, out of their sight for a moment, a quiet and beautiful miracle occurred. A soft, brilliant, and deeply golden light flashed from behind the tree, a light as warm and as powerful as a tiny, captured sun. The gentle, rhythmic, and familiar clack-clack-clack of the train's wheels seemed to change, to deepen, to take on a strange and magical resonance. And when the train emerged from the other side of the tree, the flatbed car was empty. The stone, the locket, the gingerbread, the folded paper wishes, they were all gone. The transformation, the gift within. The family stared, their mouths agape, a collective, silent, and deeply astonished gasp in the warm, firelit room. The train continued its journey, its flatbed car now empty, its mission, it seemed, complete. Ben, the youngest, was the first to speak. "The train ate them," he squeaked, a look of pure, unadulterated, and joyful wonder on his small, freckled face. Emily smiled, a quiet, knowing, and deeply peaceful smile. "No," she said softly, "it delivered them." A profound and deeply comforting sense of peace and of a magic that was real and powerful and on their side settled over the family. They did not understand what had happened. They did not need to. They simply knew, with a deep and unshakable certainty, that their wishes had been sent, that their messages had been heard. They had launched their small and humble cargo of love, and the train, their faithful and now clearly magical family train, had carried it out into the world to its intended and most beloved destination. The heavy and worried silence that had been hanging over their holiday was lifted. They were not just a family sitting in a room, missing someone. They were a family who had just participated in a small and beautiful miracle. Their hearts were no longer heavy with a sense of helpless distance. They were light and full, with the warm and glowing certainty of a powerful and magical connection. The ending, the whisper of Christmas. The next morning, Christmas Day, the phone rang. It was the nurse from the hospital, her voice full of a strange and joyful confusion. "I don't know how to explain this," she said, "but something wonderful has happened. Last night, just at midnight, Mrs. Miller, who has been so despondent, suddenly sat up in her bed. She said she could smell gingerbread. She said she felt a sudden and profound sense of warmth, of peace, of a strength that was not her own. And this morning, her doctors are astonished. Her recovery, it seems to have taken a miraculous and a joyful leap forward." The nurse continued, "And the strangest thing, this morning when I came in, there were 3 small and very mysterious objects on her bedside table: a small smooth riverstone, a tiny silver locket, and," she said, her voice full of a laughing and deeply professional bewilderment, "a single and very cheerful-looking gingerbread man." The Miller family, their hearts full of a joy so profound it brought tears to their eyes, looked at the small, empty, and now once again ordinary toy train, sitting silent on its track beneath the beautiful and now even more magical Christmas tree. Their wishes had not just been sent, they had arrived. The narrator reflects that the traditions we build in our families, the small and seemingly silly games we play, can be more powerful than we know. For a wish, when it is born of a pure and a selfless love, is a real and a tangible thing, and sometimes on the most magical of nights, an ordinary and much-loved toy can become a sacred and a powerful vessel, a small and determined engine that can carry our love, our hope, and our healing across any distance, right to the very heart of the person who needs it the most. And that's how Christmas found its way into another heart,